Okay, I did come back to the model table yesterday afternoon and last night. Mainly last night, I guess, after what you might call supper. Anyway, I left my camera though in the computer room. I didn't do any videoing, so there's not going to be a rollback. Now, what I did do though was I took those little eyelets that I'd made up a few months ago, and I placed a total of 11 of them in various places. 4 of them on the funnels, 2 on each side of each funnel, and then I put some on the deck where I thought it would look a lot more believable. Some of the eyes that were on the deck, I don't know, they just didn't seem to line up with anything. If you were to run a line from an eyelet on the funnel to one of them on the deck, it either just didn't look believable, or it would be up against something else, like dragging against one of the boats or something like that. So anyway, I added a few on the deck. What I'm going to be doing this morning is I'm going to be taking the paint and going around and touching up places. Like I'll be putting the 22 on the sides of the funnels, and then I've got to, and also I've got to put the 22 on right here because I accidentally broke this off. Fortunately, I didn't damage anything. I just caught it with something. But what happened is, you remember I had that steady rest here. Well, I think it was a pair of tweezers or something, and I accidentally shoved them over the side. And then when they fell down, they broke it off. You know, you're getting more information than you need. Anyway, let's just put on the macro lens and see if we can touch up some of these little eyelets here. Oh, I gotta make a correction. I knew I put my manual here for a reason. It wasn't because we need it. Because in I think it was yesterday's video, I said that there was absolutely nothing in the manual about rigging. And then when I was watching my video that I uploaded onto YouTube, in that very scene, I had the manual, and here you can see rigging on the front page. But it's not designed to really help you. This is just designed to, this picture is just to look good. It's not to, I don't think a person can get any information out of this. Well, maybe, but how accurate is it? Mind you, how accurate is what I'm doing, right? Now, when we were doing our funnels and everything, and we were doing this part right here that had these, what we concluded were pulleys, and there was a line going up, and I believe I read somewhere that, or somebody said that, you know, guys would be able to hoist themselves up the side of the funnel to paint the funnel. And it seems to me that when I was watching Steve in the model shed do his, he actually ran line on these, and I had thought about doing it, but I'm thinking now that no, I think, you know, yes, it would give more detail and everything, but where do I get a little piece here? You know, I could take and sort of hook it over, you know, sort of around and then down, you know, that sort of thing, kind of. Anyway, it's just going to be too frustrating for me, and there are just too many of them. If there was only, you know, 1 or 2, but there's how many? There's about 20 or 30 of them. Anyway, let's put the macro lens on and see if we can hide this copper. Now, this entire funnel has been airbrushed, and if I use paintbrush, it's going to have a different texture. So what I want to try to do is only just put on enough to cover up the CA glue, and get rid of the copper. Now try and come in from the other side a little bit here. Now I think when that dries, that's going to be okay. Let's move on to this other one over here. Now the CA glue did get on the side there a little bit. I do want to remember that the side I'm looking at right now, that we are looking at right now, is the side that's going to be against the back of the case. Okay. Now, the next funnel. That might be getting on a little bit heavy there. When I'm filling in the ring, got too much on my brush. Let me get some off the brush here. Okay, let's get that hole opened up. There. Now I was looking at my monitor when I was lining up for this one here. I've cleaned off my paintbrush just a little bit, and it looks like maybe I have CA'd the hole shut. I want to see, can I poke the bristles through? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to find a pin or something and clean that out. Okay, here we go with the or something. Okay. All I want to do is just get the shine off. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now when I do the number 77, I'll try and come in along the rail. Maybe on the inside here, you probably can't see it from your angle, but and here again, when I'm doing the 77, I'll come along that deck. I'm probably going to fill in some of the detail, but at least we'll get rid of the glint. Like right now, I'm looking down at an angle the way this paintbrush is pointing, and I'm getting reflection back off of the paint, which hasn't dried yet. But there was CA glue there, and it sort of shines. It just catches your eye and spoils everything. Okay, it is easier to clean my little paintbrush off for the number 77 than to turn the ship around and use the 22 on the other side and then have to turn it back. So anyway, these ones that I put on the deck, there's two on the port side here. There's one right there where I'm touching, and then there's another one. It's kind of awkward to get into, but it's just right there. And yeah, let's put the macro lens on and see if we can't paint those. Okay, I'm probably blocking my own light here, but we'll do the most awkward one first. There. I think that's gonna dry up really, really good. At least we're not going to see the copper. I wonder if there's a little bit of CA maybe just on this side of it here on the deck. Okay. Like I say, get rid of the glint. Okay, now the other one's a lot easier to get at. When I'm zoomed in like this, I can really see where all the dust is on the deck. Okay. Now let me check the monitor. Did I fill up the ring? I think I did. Okay, it's clear now. Okay, my little paintbrush is all cleaned up. My coffee's gone. It's after lunchtime. Now, I'm going to turn the ship around and do the ones on the other side. And there's no use videoing it because it's just going to be a repeat of what I just did on this side. Except for one. On the other side, this last one that we just videoed, it was already there. But it wasn't on this side. There's not even a little hole here like I missed it or something. They just didn't put one in. And it was sort of an obvious place as to where a line would come. At least to my thinking it was obvious. Maybe a shipbuilder would disagree. Anyway, I'm going to do that. I have not videoed, or rather edited, any of the video that I've taken yet this morning. So I guess I better go and develop my film. Yeah. We'll probably be seeing you. Well, we'll be seeing you before the end of the day anyway, but I don't know if there's going to be much more of this episode, model shipbuilding. Well, maybe we could try and run a little bit of the easy line. Where is it now? I lost it. Yeah, we could actually run a strand or two. Why not? Now, in yesterday's rollback, I had said that we had no rabbits show up for around 24 hours or so. Yeah. Well, I've got good news and I've got bad news. I'll give you the bad news first. The bad news is it took about 38 hours before a rabbit finally showed up. I guess you could say the good news is one showed up. Yeah. I don't know what's going on here, and you'll notice this rabbit is extremely wary. It's got its head up in the air and its ears are up and its little nose is sniffing the air, and I don't know, maybe there was coyotes in the area and it could smell them, but it was extremely wary. It grabbed a carrot and it hopped off. And I later followed to see where did it go, like I can follow it in the surveillance system. And it went and took its carrot and it ate it between my house and the neighbor's house. Then it came back for another piece and scampered off. And that was it for the rabbits for the day. Did not see any for all day long. Well, we'll see what happens today. Okay, right now my poor little laptop is struggling to render the video that I've edited. And it is going so slow. I know I keep talking about this. And I know I keep saying things like, I'll sure be glad when, I get this computer system organized and iTech gets back to us. And yeah, it's just sort of up in the air there. I don't know what to do about that. Now, here's my thinking lately. We are going to set the rudder so that it is turning the ship to port, because we understand now from the evidence that was found when the wreck was discovered that the rudder was in fact set to port, unless the concussion of the explosion, moved it, but I don't think so. It's probably that's the way it was. It's not like there was a couple of guys in the back hanging onto a big tiller, and when the explosion hit they let go of it and the rudder started flopping around. That's not the way those things work. And it's not like there's a cable running from the tiller in the back to the wheel in the front, and it's manually moved. It's sort of like power steering on your car. Yeah, you're not really doing it. The power steering is. Well, it's kind of like that. I think it had some sort of a steam driven motor. There's probably a couple of hundred horsepower, and it would move the rudder whichever way. Anyway, I'm getting off the subject again. So in other words, it probably, the rudder was the way it was when they discovered the wreck. So we're going to set it so that it's turning the ship a little bit to port. Okay. Now the way I understand it is that that it was headed towards the Bismarck, and then when it spotted the Bismarck, it started to swing to port. So that would mean, I am going somewhere with this. That would mean that the main guns, in all likelihood, would have been starting to swing to starboard, to look out this way, and keep themselves trained on where the Bismarck was, or where they thought it was. You know, as the ship turned, as the ship would slowly turn this way, the guns would keep following that way. I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, that's what I would do, and I don't know anything about this. So, why not, when I put this in the case, and I think that something like this may have been suggested quite a while ago already, have the main guns pointed slightly to starboard, the way they probably were when the explosion hit, and it was game over for the Hood. I think the Hood went down in like 5 minutes or less from all accounts. I could be wrong. I've forgotten. I've heard so much technical data in that regard that I can't remember what's fact and what's fiction. I'm just going by what you think it probably was. What makes sense? There was only, what, 2 or 3 survivors? So anyway, I'm thinking that when I put the Hood in the case, very carefully now, why not have all the main guns pointed off what way the way they probably were when the ship was hit? I think that might be kind of interesting. Now remember, we'll be viewing the ship from the other side. This side is going to be against the back of the case. This is our practice side. We're going to practice some rigging here. Now I can't let this video get too long, or it's just never going to get uploaded today. Things are going slow again. So it's just a thought. Maybe I'm not finding anything in this book as to how the guns were adjusted or anything like that, but that's not what this book is about. This is about the anatomy of the ship, and it's got to do with the mechanical aspect of it, not about the anyway, you know what I'm trying to say here, I hope. Let's put some of this on. Okay, I've tried to adjust my exposure here so that this area right here is as clear as possible. This area right here is actually this right up here. And I'm just trying to see where does this line run. I can probably just barely see it, but our ring is right there. And it appears to me that if we follow the line that John Roberts has drawn from that particular eye bolt, it looks to me like it comes down and fastens to a place like no, not this one right here. Now that kind of makes sense. I can see where if it did run from here to here, maybe I should. I'm going to recompose. Okay, keeping in mind what we saw in the drawing. This is the ring that we're talking about, and this is the corner that we're talking about. Now I can see where that if it went at an angle like this, You see, yes, it would support the funnel from rocking back and forth, from bow to stern, but it wouldn't really support it very much from going side to side. Now, it could be that there was another, the one in the back here, that goes down to this ring here, which you can't see because it's out of the field of view. We will be running a line down to that one. That's the one that I put in the deck. Well, let's just do that. I think we'll just glue some easy line just underneath here, and then just run it up through the ring, glue it, let it cure, and then cut it off. I think that's the way to go here. We are really running out of time. I'm going to have to say thanks for watching, and maybe I'll work on this a little later and we'll do it in tomorrow's rollback. I have no promises. All being well, we will see you tomorrow though.